Hey guys, thanks for checking out D-Star RC. I'm Dave, and today I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough of what I have, or what I'm using. So the first thing we're looking at here is this FTX Canyon, and it came with a gray Lexan body with lights. And so far, all I've really done to this one is just found this new bright body that fits otherwise perfectly on here. It looks pretty sweet. I have two different GoPro mounts. And if we just pop this up, I used magnets to hold this body on. And this isn't Lexan, this is an actual hard plastic, so that's part of why I got it, to make it a little more realistic, not so flimsy. This is everything that came stock with it. I did have to modify the servo pretty much right here. All I did was add this washer to it because it came kind of flimsy, or maybe became flimsy since I've owned it. And then the only other thing I've done, turn it around, was, I don't even remember where this came on the vehicle, but I don't think it was ever stationary. And then so all I did here was just pop in two screws, one on each end for the on-off switch. Make it easier to deal with. So this is a 10 scale extra large is what it claims. So it's the only crawler I have so far. I'm hoping to ever get a Traxxas TRX4 or TRX4 Sport would be awesome, either one. Or at least a TRX4 with a sports body on it, or even preferably the Raptor body on it would look sweet. And here we are with my main favorite Traxxas 4x4 / 10 scale. And we can pop this one off, as we see. It's never easy to do with one hand. For this one, I'm trying to eventually get almost all aluminum for every aluminum piece you can find on eBay or wherever. So let's go over this real quick. We got the aluminum A-arms for rear. We got aluminum rear shock tower. I did finally recently get aluminum shocks, which for the most part are pretty sweet. They're just any more robust than those cheapy out-of-the-box shocks that you get from Traxxas that usually leak, and you have to end up upgrading either to something like this or their big bore versions, which aren't too bad, but I'd rather get something that goes with everything else. So we got that. When I did buy this used, it already came with the fans for the Valinian, and the guy already did the aftermarket for the motor heatsink fan. And if you're wondering, I have this cracked open, and I'll sort of explain as we get to the next car, but the whole thing is I was using its original servo, and recently I took the servo from this one to put it into the two-wheel drive, which we'll get to next. So this one's empty because I ordered another one, so I'll put that one in this one. And then the servo we just looked at for the crawler was previously installed in this two-wheel drive, so the crawler was not usable up until recently, like yesterday. So that's what's going on there. And then also, if everyone noticed, we're missing pieces back here. And once again, not too long ago, a neighbor kid has this Traxxas Bandit, and his wheel became inoperable. And with Traxxas Bandits, if anyone knows or owns one, they basically have just a pin right here where it connects to the wheel. There is no 12mm hex. So what I did, once again we'll look over here, I took the 12mm off of this one for both ends, gave them 2 sets of my other tires, which I wasn't using, that were for this crawler. So now I still have the pins for this. I just don't have the 12mm, which is also another part I've ordered. So once those get in, I'll put that back on, put the pins in, and put its wheels back on, which are right here holding everything up. Now, to keep going, I did a video not long ago with a Rustler center drive shaft aluminum upgrade, which I also did get with this one, so we got that in there. And then moving to the front, continuing with the front shock tower aluminum upgrade, front shocks upgrades, front A-arm upgrades, and we all know on my first video I've had to repair the crank, ball crank, or whatever that word is, I can't even remember anymore. And so right now, online what I've seen that I will try to get incrementally would be, I've seen they got red aluminum battery arm, or brackets I guess, I don't know, holder. I'd like to get that. I do know that they have the motor mount in red aluminum, which I was going to get that. And then I guess I've seen they got both of these, I don't even quite remember what these are called, but sort of the spacer bracket piece, this blue aluminum I was going to switch out to red, that holds the A-arm pins in place while you install the rear bumper there, holds everything together. So I was going to get those in the blue, or I mean these blue parts into the red aluminum, the motor mount into the red aluminum. Possibly, if I get real tedious, I found that they got, you know, red versions of this motor here and a red version of a fan that I could put in there. And then lastly, or the last 2 other things, I was going to get the gear housing. I'm sure there's a specific word, but where this black plastic is for the front and the back, get those in the red aluminum. And then the final touch really would be getting rid of these stupid body clip post styles and getting the screw on so it'd be any easier to take on and off. And maybe the grand finale would be just getting a newer body for it. And I guess maybe the new tires at some point, which these clearly have decent tread still. So there's that whole thing. So here's the 2-wheel drive / 10 scale. This thing I have yet to test for sure, but it had range issues. And initially I had a shorter antenna tube that was literally the length of my thumb maybe. So it was barely any signal to be put out. So I figured, you know, maybe instead of buying a whole new receiver, hopefully I could just pull the cord back out again and put the long tube in and see if that will change that. And initially on this 4-wheel drive, I did have the big bore shocks until the day I got these in the mail. Once I put those upgrades on, I moved everything over and put it onto the 2-wheel drive slash. And so far it seems any better. I mean, it's quiet. That's my favorite thing. It's not restricted. One thing I did learn is that one of the 2 rear shocks, even when I had to oil them properly and the rubber diaphragm gasket, whatever you want to call it, goes on the inside right under the cap. There's a little piece of plastic on the shaft of these, and it was like so thick it wouldn't, I mean, when I pressed it down it would stay down. Even with the right amount of oil and the cap on, it wouldn't expand on its own. So I took that whole thing off and replaced it with one that had 3 holes in it. The one that I had only had 2 holes in the little donut piece that goes on there. As soon as I did that, it fixed the whole issue, and now everything works fine. Everything in here is all original. I haven't done any upgrades on this thing yet. I don't know if or when I will, but everything I upgrade or replace on this one, I usually throw into this one. And when I put the servo back to normal, I was happy to find that I kept the right stuff that went with it on stock, so I just put all this stuff back on the 2-wheel drive steering servo links. And then over here I got little mini-me 16th scale / 4x4. This one I haven't done squat, besides that I have 2 of these, and I use some of the parts, well, a few anyways. Well, I just took off the other servo that was connected to this one and put it on this one, which at this time is kind of unnecessary, but I just wanted to see how it looked. So now I got 2 servos on this guy. I was thinking to make this Valenian at some point, just like I would like to do for the 2-wheel drive, because these motors look huge, but they are able to hold brushless. And because they have 2 batteries, I wanted to try that out someday. Starting with any upgrades on here is to get rid of this, I don't even remember, T60 maybe connector or whatever it is, Dean's, and bring it into Traxxas, so all my batteries are Traxxas. There's that one. So as I showed, I got what otherwise would be a working one. I got a twin brother buried down in here. Here's the Traxxas that I got that has been stripped with almost every piece it had on it, or even when I got it, it was missing a lot of stuff. It is still drivable, I just didn't get into it yet because that's a whole nother vehicle to deal with. This thing's caked with something in there. Grease. But this one eventually I wanted to do its short course. I guess this would be, what, 18th scale? Version of another Slash. And then these. If anyone's seen these on eBay, I would think twice about buying them, because I bought them to go onto my old Rustler, which would have been down here, that blue Rustler that I did the video on, and I first tried them out in the 4x4, and what I'm getting at here is that when you put the wheels on, there's too much room from the pin on over, or maybe from the pin on back, and it would just, you know, rear wheels would slide. I didn't have any spacers or washers. You're going to need those just to get it halfway decent. So I took them off, and for now they're kind of useless. I might even just turn around and sell them. Then my little tower of cluster effing screws and all this stuff. Just random things from other older RCs that I've had that I've kept parts and pieces that are still working. I got this FPV that I used to put on almost every vehicle or plane or drone that I had. One spare parts for the FTX. I got these spare parts that are basically for taking a camera mount so you could put it on servos, rotate it up, down, left, right. Some more plain pieces, CSCs and things. Backup parts to this tiny little part flyer, a whole bunch of random tools that I keep getting when you buy these trucks and planes. Really nothing. Oh, I was looking for this. That is awesome. Oh, we'll bring this over. Where is it now? This one. So now I have all four. 1, 2, 3, 4. I was missing one. Well, I got like 5 in here now, but whatever. So there's those. There's this one. Oh, it's this one that needs one. You can see I only put 3 in there because I'd rather have 4 on the good one and 3 in the 2-wheel drive. Just pick this one up. Looking for that for a while, thinking I chucked it on accident. Just more random parts, Velcro, empty bags, battery connectors for batteries I don't even have anymore. Like 2 and 3S, if even 1 or 2S really. That's about it. Otherwise, my main batteries that I use, and at this point everything's becoming Traxxas. Need to get a new one or 2 of these little, I believe it's 1,300, 1,300 light bulb Traxxas battery for the Slash. And here's something to mention. So I bought this Traxxas tool set online. It came with its ratchet. I was in the middle of recording a video and then the ratchet broke, so I haven't even uploaded it. Otherwise I got a video or 2 before this. So the ratchet broke. Luckily on eBay the people were nice enough to understand. I took pictures, sent it to him, told him that obviously the ratchet broke within about 15 minutes of use. Otherwise this tool set I was gonna recommend, and I guess I still would. We all know I always talk about I hate those dinky little Allen wrenches that are sharp. Just hard to hold after a while. So I got that. And they're basically sending that in the mail as we speak. And yeah, so there's everything. And the last thing I guess I forget to mention was, so I had this blue rustler that I sold so I could get the red version because I'm trying to keep everything red. Now I'm just waiting for that in the mail and I'm all back to normal. So yeah. Thanks everyone for watching, subscribe and like.